Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you so much for being here today. In this video, I'm sharing the Stamps of Life Club products for January of 2023, and you will see an unboxing of the club items and my design process for the cards that I made with these items. So let's start out by taking a look at the Stamp Club set and the Die Hard Club set for January of 2023. If you're part of the club, you'll get a different stamp set and die set every month, and January's set is called BigMailbox2Stamp. This set has a postal mailbox with a dog, cat, an envelope, and some grass that you can put at the bottom of the mailbox so it looks like it's sitting in the grass. There are also several sentiments such as "You've got mail," "Just a note," "For you," "Hello there," as well as many more. Some of the smaller sentiments even fit in a large rectangle at the bottom of the mailbox. If you're a member of the Stamp Club, you'll get the stamp set, but if you're a member of the Die Hard Club, you will receive the stamp set with the coordinating dies. And if you're a Die Hard Club member, you will receive a free item this month, and the free item is the sticker sheet that contains 8 sentiment stickers that you can use on your cards. So let's go ahead and move on and take a look at the January card kit. And this month's card kit is called For You. Just like with every card kit, you will get a large plastic envelope. This envelope is great for storing your cardstock, or if you want to store your card kit contents, you can do that as well. Every card kit also comes with a pack of A2 size white envelopes. Here's a look at the 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock in the color Pool. You also get Ocean, Blueberry, Midnight, Strawberry, Grape, Kiwi, Sunshine, and 4 sheets of the powdered sugar, which is the white cardstock. So here's a look at the pattern paper pad. I'll go ahead and flip through this. You can see it has the postal mailbox in different color blues. There's also another sheet that has the large postal mailboxes that you can use your coordinating dies and die cut them to make super quick cards. So just use your shadow die and run that through your die cut machine. You can also use the shadow die to die cut the dog. But if you want to die cut out the bird, you would need to get the add-on set in order to do that, because that bird die is part of the More BigMailbox2Stamp die set. I don't have that to show you, but I'm just going to fussy cut mine out. So there's also another sheet of dogs in different colors, cats in different colors, as well as a couple more birds. And since you get 2 sheets of each design, you're going to end up with lots of die cut shapes that you can use on your cards to make quick and easy cards. So here's a sheet of birds. You also have some more patterns such as For You. There's some other mailboxes here, some smaller postal mail trucks, some smaller birds, and you can see that the designs on the opposite page are chevron shaped stripes in various colors. Here's a polka dot, there's a diagonal stripe, and then we start back all over again. So that is the pattern paper pad for the month. You also get a sticker sheet that has a few sentiments, some birds, and some chevron stripes. And then you also get a word die that says For You, and the word For You is identical font to the pattern paper pad. Here are some enamel stickers. There's some dots, hearts, arrows, as well as some chipboard envelopes. You can ink these up with your ink pads. You can color them with your markers and use those on your projects. There's also a sheet of stickers. These are puffy stickers that have the mail trucks and some envelopes on them. Here is some ribbon, red, white, and blue ribbon. And then you also get this A1 size gatefold card die set. So this will make an A1 size card, which is 3.5 by 5 inches, and it's a gatefold card. So these are the dies that are included. You have this die, which you will die cut twice, and then you have some layering dies for the card base. There's also some flowers and special delivery as the word die, and then if you flip it over, you can see what the flowers look like, and then there's the special delivery. And just like with last month's card kit, the Stamps of Life was throwing in some extra free dies. So my free dies are a word die. It says, "You are a flower in my life." And I also got some heart dies. And everybody gets different free products in their card kits. So leave me a comment down below if you are a card kit member and let me know what your free dies are. I'm sure everybody else would like to know too, and we can read through the comments and see what everybody got. So thank you, Ken and Stephanie, for all of the freebies. We love them. And that will include all of the card kit products. So if you want everything that you saw here to include the monthly stamp set, the dies, and the card kit, that's called the Gold Club. And with being a Gold Club member, you also get some perks, and one of those perks is getting a 20% discount on all products in the Stamps of Life store. And if you join the Stamp Club or Die Hard Club, you also get a discount. You'll get 15% off all products in the Stamps of Life store. And if you decide to join any of the Stamps of Life clubs or upgrade any of the clubs, I would love for you to use my affiliate link, which is in the description box below. That just tells the Stamps of Life that I referred you, and you will get 500 bonus club points to spend in their store. And I'll also get a small commission if you use my link, and I always appreciate your support. You can also use my promo code, which is Lisa Mears. So the first thing I always like to do before I start a card kit is take out the pieces of pattern paper that I can die cut the images out. So I'm going to use my shadow dies from the die set and die cut all of the mailboxes. I'll also die cut the cats, the dogs, and the birds. Since I don't have those dies, I will just use my scissors to fussy cut them. So you can see all of the die cut images that you get from the pattern paper pad, which makes for such easy and quick cards. But I'm going to start out my first card using the A1 gatefold card die set. I'm going to take the flower dies from this die set, and I'm going to die cut them using the 3 colors of pattern paper that you see here. I'm going to use the yellow, the red, and the purple. And then I'm going to take my corresponding ink colors, and I'm just going to add some ink to the edges of all of those flowers. So whenever I use the flowers in this video, I am going to ink up the edges, although I probably won't show all of the inking every single time. So I just think adding ink to the edges, it just adds for such nice depth and dimension to your die cuts rather than making them look so flat. I die cut these smaller flowers out of white cardstock, and I'm just going to layer the white on top of the colored flower to get a layered look, and I'm going to do that for all of my flowers. Next, I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock that I cut to 5 inches by 3 3/4 inches, and I'm going to add this chevron sticker towards the bottom of that cardstock, going along the landscape width of that card layer. I am going to snip off the excess sticker on the left and right because it is a little bit longer than that white cardstock piece. And then I'm going to add my light blue mailbox to the card front. I'm going to add 3 flowers to the right side of my mailbox. So once I have them where I want them, I'll go ahead and add glue to each one of the flowers and add them to the card layer. You can either add them flat to your card by pushing the petals down to the cardstock, or you can lift the petals up to add some dimension to your card. I'm going to add that card layer to my Misti, and I'm going to position the stamp that says "Hello There." This is from the stamp set, and I know I want the bird to be resting right on top of it. So once I have it in place, I'll go ahead and close the door on my Misti and stamp the stamp out in some black ink. And then I will add the red die cut bird above the sentiment. I'm going to add this white layer to a piece of pattern paper that measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I'm going to add this to my A2 size card base, and that card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to add a few of these purple epoxy dots to the middle of the flowers. And just when I thought I was about done, I thought there was too much white space to the left of the mailbox, so I decided to bring in a couple more flowers to put there in that white area. And I'm going to add some more epoxy dots to the centers of those flowers as well. And then that's going to complete this first card. For my next card, I die cut a scalloped rectangle frame out of some of the Pool cardstock, and I'm adding it to this piece of pattern paper with the birds on it. Next, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim the paper so that I have an entire rectangle with just that pattern paper inside of the scalloped border. Next, I have another piece of pattern paper and I cut that to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm also going to incorporate the ribbon from the kit. I'm going to use some of my Scrapbookcom double-sided adhesive tape to add to my ribbon to adhere it to the lower portion of that pattern paper. So I'm adding the adhesive to the ribbon, and I'm going to tuck the left and right sides of the ribbon behind that piece of pattern paper. Next, I'm going to add the scallop border at a diagonal so that a little bit of it is over top of the ribbon, and I'm going to add the mailbox to the lower right hand corner, and this time I'm using the dark blue mailbox. I am adding some double-sided adhesive foam strips underneath the mailbox because it's not sitting flat on the card. The top portion of that mailbox is sitting on an extra layer of pattern paper as well as a ribbon, where the bottom half of that mailbox is not. So in order for it to lay flat, I just had to put some double-sided adhesive foam strips on the very bottom portion. And I also added some of those same foam strips to the cat. And I'm going to add the cat to the bottom left-hand side of the mailbox. And I die cut an envelope from the envelope die that's included in the die set. Die cut it in red, and I'm going to add it to the cat's hand, also putting some foam on the back of that envelope. I am adding some highlights with a white gel pen to the envelope. And then I'm going to add some flowers to my mailbox. So I have the smaller yellow flower that I'm going to add to the center of the purple flower. And then I'm going to layer that up with the red flower. So the red flower will be a standalone flower by itself. And then I'll add the purple flower offset of the red flower and a little bit underneath that cat. Using the monthly stamp set, I stamped out Sending Hugs in some red ink, and I'm just adding some of the blue ink along the edges of that rectangle just to add a little bit of color to that stamped sentiment, and then I'm going to add it flush with the left side of my card. Next, I'll add that layer to an A2 size card base, and then that will complete my card. So I do want to let you know that I do have a corresponding blog post with up-close pictures of all of the cards that I make in this video today. There's also measurements of the cards and links to any additional products that I use in my video. In the description box of this YouTube video is the link to the corresponding blog post, and I also have links to all of the supplies that I use in my video in the description box of this YouTube video. So for this next card, I die cut the postal mailbox out of some red cardstock, and I used the matching ink, the strawberry ink from the Stamps of Life, and I inked up the edges of the mailbox to add some depth to that mailbox. I also die cut the mailbox out of some blueberry cardstock, and I am using my scissors to cut out only parts of the blue mailbox that I want to piece into my red mailbox. So I'm cutting out the handle of the mailbox, also this small square on the side of the mailbox, and you can see that when you die cut these layering dies, they are already a little bit cut out of the cardstock for you. You just have to snip off a little portion of it. I'm also going to cut out this larger rectangle at the bottom So I'm just going to use my scissors to snip that cardstock away from the postal mailbox. So I'm going to take those blue pieces and I'm going to put glue on the back of them and add them to the red mailbox. That way this postal mailbox now has some blue accents and it's looking a little bit more dimensional. I am going to come back to that blue mailbox and cut out this little circle. Now, if you don't want to cut out that little circle, you can always use an enamel dot if you wanted to, because that circle is a little bit small. So I'm just going to add a little piece of glue to my red mailbox and then put the blue piece right on top. And then I'll go ahead and add this rectangle blue square in place. Next, I'm going to take this post die and I'm going to add it to the blue part of this mailbox. So I'm just going to make sure that it is straight and it is going the right way. I want to make sure the letters are going the right way. I'm going to add some of my mint tape to it and then I'm going to run it through my die cut machine, and that's going to cut the letters out of the blue piece. So I'm going to poke the letters out, and once I add this to my white shadow layer, you'll be able to see that the white coming through the word post. I'm going to add back in the inside of the P as well as the inside of the O to make that word complete. I love how you can use this die to make this postal mailbox any color you want. Next, I used a grass die and die cut a piece of the Kiwi cardstock, and I am going to ink up the edges to add some more depth to my grass. I also have a piece of the pattern paper that I cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to add the grass to the bottom of my pattern paper, and that grass is also 4 inches wide. If yours is a little bit longer, you can always snip off the edges with your scissors. I'm going to add the postal mailbox to the card. I also used the individual grass dies that came with the mailbox die set, and I'm going to add them to the bottom of my postal mailbox. I did ink up the edges of those grass dies as well. Next, I'm going to add my dog that I die cut from the pattern paper. It's going to look like he's climbing on the mailbox. The cat is going to be on top of him. So I'll go ahead and add those to the card. I used the envelope die and die cut the envelope in several different colors of cardstock, and I'm just inking up the edges in their corresponding ink. I'm going to add a cluster of 3 envelopes at the bottom of the mailbox. So I'll go ahead and glue those down. And I'll also add a piece of mail in the cat's hand. I stamped out a sentiment that says, "I've got your back," in some red ink. I also inked up the edges of that white cardstock with some of the red ink as well. And then I'm just going to add a few of these chevrons. I'm going to add the ones in the white so that it pops against that blue pattern paper. And those chevrons are pointing towards this sentiment. I'll add that card layer to an A2 size card base, and then that's going to complete this card. For my next card, I'm going to use the A1 gatefold card die set that's included in the kit, and I'm going to make a gatefold card that is A1 in size, which is 3.5 by 5 inches. So I'm going to take the largest die in that die set and die cut a piece of the Grape cardstock. This is the purple cardstock, and I die cut that die twice. And then that die, once it's die cut, it puts score lines in the cardstock, and I'm just folding at the score lines. And you're going to put both of these pieces of cardstock together to form your card base. So the largest rectangle portion of each one of those pieces of cardstock will go on top of each other. You're just going to glue them to each other, and that's going to form your card base. So you can see I'm going to put glue on the top of one of the die cut pieces, and then I will add the other one right on top. So now you can fold the sides in, and that is your gatefold card. So I'm going to use the small rectangular layering die and die cut 2 pieces of this pattern paper, one for each side of my card. I'm also going to add some of the Grape ink, which is the purple ink, to the edges of my pattern paper just to add some more definition and depth. And I'll add these layers to my card base, but you want to make sure that if you are using a print like this, make sure all of these lines line up when you add them to the front of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back and add these to the front panels. I'm also going to use the For You word die, and I love how large this die is. I've die cut the words out of white cardstock, and I'm adding them to a shadow that's cut with the ocean cardstock. I also am creating a belly band to go around my card. So I cut a piece of the purple cardstock that measures 3/4 inches by 8 inches. And I'm just going to add it to the front of the card and wrap it around towards the back, making sure that that strip of cardstock is completely straight and even. Make sure before you attach that cardstock that you can slide your card in and out. You don't want to attach it so that it's so tight that you can't get it off of the card. And then once you have it like you want it, go ahead and add glue or some double-sided tape to the back of that belly band and attach it so that it's all one piece. Next, I'm going to make sure that my card will easily come out of there, and then I'm just going to use my fingers to press that firmly to make sure that glue is firmly attached and secure. My die cut words For You, those are going to go on the front of the card attached to the belly band. I'm going to take the belly band back off of the card because I want to make sure that the glue doesn't get on the card and only gets on the belly band. So when you're doing this, just make sure you put glue in the middle of your die cut so that it's only on the belly band because you don't want it to get on the card front. You don't want to glue your belly band to your card. You don't want to do that. Okay, so next I'm going to add some flowers. I've die cut some yellow and some purple flowers, and I'm just adding some ink to the edges, and then I'll put those flowers together by layering the pieces just like I did in a previous card. I'm going to add 2 flowers at the top left-hand corner of my card, and I'll add 3 flowers at the bottom right-hand corner of my card. Next, I'll remove the belly band, and I die cut a piece of yellow cardstock with the rectangle layering die that came with this die set, and I'm going to add that to the center of the card. Now, if you wanted to add layering pieces to the smaller rectangle sides, you can do that. You can make the whole inside yellow if you wanted to, or you can even add some pattern paper on all 3 flaps. But I'm just adding paper to the middle section, and I'm adding a few flowers to the inside as well. I'm going to add the belly band back over the card, and then I'm going to use my Scrapbookcom white pops of color and add some drops to the insides of these flowers. The pops of color is a liquid embellishment that will dry hard and with dimension on your project. So I'm just adding it to the centers of those flowers, and then I'm going to let this sit until it dries. And that will complete this card. So for my next card, I'm going to do another gatefold card. This time I took the large die and die cut 2 pieces of the Midnight, which is the navy blue cardstock. I'm just folding it at the score lines, and then I'm going to add glue to the top of the left-hand side. And then I'm going to add the right panel right over top of that. Using the small rectangular layering die, I die cut 2 pieces of white cardstock. And I'm going to make my own pattern paper using this envelope die. I die cut several of the envelopes from different color cardstock. I used the strawberry cardstock, which is the red. I use the sunshine, which is the yellow, and then the pool cardstock, which is that blue. First, I inked up the edges with the corresponding inks to add some depth to those envelopes, and now I'm just placing them randomly on the white card panel. Again, I'm doing this because I wanted to make my own pattern paper and I wanted to have lots of these little envelopes on here. Now, if you don't want to die cut this little envelope die several times like I did, you can always use the stamp that came in the stamp set, and you can stamp the envelope stamp out on this panel in different color inks. After I have all of the envelopes where I want them, I'll go ahead and glue them all to my panel. Notice that some of the envelopes are extending beyond the edge of that white panel, and that's okay because I will turn this over and snip off the extra cardstock. So I went ahead and did the same thing with the second white panel. So after you snip off the envelopes that extend beyond the card layer, if there's any smaller pieces that you want to add back, you can do so like I did with that red one. Okay, so now I'm going to add these to my card base. Just like with the last card, I am going to create a belly band. So I cut a piece of the midnight cardstock to 3/4 inches by 8. I'm adding a piece of double-sided adhesive right along the middle of that cardstock, and I'm going to add my ribbon over top of the adhesive. And I'm going to make sure when I add this that a little bit of the blue cardstock is shown at the top and bottom of that ribbon. Next, I'm going to take my card base, I'm going to add the belly band right to the top, making sure that it is centered, and then I'm going to wrap around the left and right side to the back of the card base. I'm going to take out my double-sided adhesive tape and I'm going to add some tape along the edge of one of the flaps on the top of the flap. So the tape is going on top of the flap, and then I'm going to peel that back and I'm going to secure the other side. I die cut a piece of the navy cardstock with a stitched circle die, and I'm adding the mail truck puffy sticker to the center, and then I added some glue only to the belly band at the top and only to the portion of the belly band that that circle will sit on top of. And then I'm going to add the circle right to the top, and now I'll work on the inside. So I die cut the layering piece for the inside with some white cardstock, and I'm going to add the sticker that says tweet tweet sending happy mail, and then I'm going to add a piece of mail as well as the red bird. So now I'm just going to close up this gatefold card, and I'm going to add the belly band back to the top, and that is going to complete this card. For my next card, I'm using the mailbox die again, and I die cut a piece of red and a piece of the ocean cardstock with the top layering die, and then the bottom layering die with the shadow layer I die cut white. And just like I did with a previous card, I'm going to paper piece in the red pieces onto the mailbox that's cut with the ocean cardstock. So I'm not going to show all of my cutting because I did show it on a previous card. Once I cut all of the pieces, I'll go ahead and add glue and add the red pieces to my mailbox cut with the ocean cardstock. And to save some time, I'm not going to show you all of the paper piecing since once again I did show you this in a previous card. So once I've done all the paper piecing, I am going to go ahead and ink up the edges of my mailbox in the corresponding ink. So this is the ocean ink from Stamps of Life. Here I'm just putting a piece of scrap cardstock inside of these open areas of the mailbox. Sometimes that's a little bit easier to add ink to the mailbox. And you can see just by adding the ink, it adds such nice depth to that mailbox. So here I just want to show you a side-by-side comparison of the mailbox that I paper pieced and inked the edges up, and then the one on the right is just one that doesn't have any ink or any of the paper piecing, and you can see the difference between the two. So next I'm going to add that mailbox to my Misti, and I'm going to add some powder to the red rectangle because I'm going to do some embossing, and I want to make sure that the embossing powder does not stick where there is no ink. So I'm going to stamp out the You Got Mail stamp, And I added some of the Versamark ink to that stamp, stamped it down onto the mailbox, and now I'm going to take out some white embossing powder, sprinkle that on, and then I'm going to shake off the excess embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat set that. I like using white embossing powder on dark backgrounds because it really gives the stamped image a nice white appearance rather than just using white ink. The white ink would be much lighter in color than using the embossing powder, so the embossing powder really helps it stand out. So now I'm going to incorporate last month's club set, which is the Candy Hearts to Stamp, and I'm going to be using the dies. Now if you wanted to use the stamps, you can stamp out a bunch of hearts, but I am going to die cut some cardstock using 3 different size hearts, and I'm also going to stamp the words on top. So some of the words are cutie pie, too cute, text me, love, friends, baby, be sweet, you and me. There's several different words that you can put inside of these hearts. And I'm just going to stamp them down with some black ink. And I have 2 different sizes that I'm stamping the words inside, but I also have die cut some of the smaller hearts to use. So I thought that this mailbox would be super cute to have some of these conversation hearts flowing out of the mailbox. I thought this would be a cute way to use this die set as well as last month's die set for making a Valentine's Day card. I could also see this being used for Christmas, any kind of holiday, as well as just general birthday or sending happy mail to a friend or loved one. So you can see that like the You've Got Mail section, that rectangular portion, it actually is open so you can tuck those hearts behind it, as well as the top portion where the handle is to open the mailbox, that has a slit in it as well, and you can stick your hearts inside there. Now, if for some reason you don't have the Candy Hearts to Stamp die set from last month's club shipment, you can always substitute the hearts for the envelope dies that came with this mailbox die set. So next I'm going to use some postage edge dies. These are from Spellbinders, and I'm going to take 2 of these dies. One die has the postage edge, and the other die, the one that layers on top of it, just has some dots on it. So you can see what these look like once they're die cut out, and I'm just die cutting them with some white cardstock. I'm going for a very clean and simple look. I wanted everything to be white in the background and only have the postage mailbox with all of those fun colors as the colored image on the card. So I'm going to go ahead and layer up these 2 layering dies and then add the mailbox to the center. I'll go ahead and add a few more hearts coming out of the top of the mailbox, and I'm going to add some of the smaller hearts all around the top. I also die cut the grass dies, and I'm adding some of the matching ink, so the Kiwi ink, to the grass to add some more depth, and then I'll add those grass pieces to each one of the legs on the mailbox. I'm going to add a heart at the bottom tucked behind one of the pieces of grass, and here I'll add another little smaller heart. I thought that would be cute to make it look like those hearts are falling to the ground. So now I'm going to add that to an A2 size card base, and I just love the clean and simple look of this card and all of those little hearts coming out of that mailbox. I love this card so much. So I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know which card is your favorite. And as always, I will have product links down in the description box below and on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like watching videos like this, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so that you'll be notified when a new video is released. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.